So this past week, we've gotten two different TV shows based off of Marvel properties. A few days ago, we got The Inhumans, which I did not care for. Tonight, we got The Gifted, and I actually liked it a good bit. So let's talk about it. So The Gifted is a TV show based on the X-Men, except in an alternate X-Men timeline where the X-Men have disappeared. Mutants still exist, and the government is still trying to track them down and imprison them, but the X-Men themselves are gone. The story is set in motion when a man who's a district attorney who has prosecuted mutants in the past discovers that both of his children are mutants, and he finds himself on the run from the Sentinel program and having to team up with the people that in the past he has prosecuted. That's the concept for the show, and I had a pretty good time with it. So this show wasn't actually on my radar. I'd heard whispers that they were doing a show like this and Bryan Singer was involved, but I didn't even watch the trailer for it. Then this review was requested by one of my patrons over on Patreon. If you don't know what that site is, it's basically if you like my content, want to go that extra mile to support me financially, to help me continue to do what I am doing, as well as make some recommendations that sometimes I take. For example, this video right here, you can support me on Patreon. The link is down below. Michael Rich requested I do this video, and here it is. And it turns out I thoroughly enjoyed this show and checked out a show I wasn't otherwise going to watch, and now I could plan on continuing to watch this show. But before I go too much into my thoughts on this one, be sure to join me down in the comments section down below. Tell me your thoughts on it. What did you think about it? What were you expecting? Are you an X-Men fan? Are you just a TV fan? Let me know all of it. Let's have a lively discussion. Now here's what I thought about it. So let's talk about the good. Now right off the bat, what I enjoyed about this show is essentially it's a very X-Men-y type premise. So like the first episode of Night of the Sentinels of the 90s cartoon, where Jubilee's being tracked by Sentinels for having mutant abilities, or the 2000 X-Men movie by Bryan Singer, the kickoff of that with Jubilee discovering, Rogue discovering her powers and kind of teaming up, going on the run. That's essentially the premise of this show, which makes for a pretty cool experience because technology and CGI and all that has gotten to a point where you can do an actual X-Men TV show and it looks really good and you can be on the run and all of it actually works. So back when I was in high school, they put out this movie called Generation X that was based off of an X-Men property. It's pretty hilarious how bad it was. And when they first announced it, we're like, this will be awesome, an X-Men TV show. And then we got it, and it was not excellent. And it's just awesome just to be at a time where you can do a TV show like this, and it's actually good. It looks good. The special effects work. They don't look cheesy. The look of it looks good. It doesn't. The costumes don't look corny or anything like that. So just right off the bat, I just had a certain level of excitement that they could pull it off, especially coming just a few days after watching The Inhumans, which clearly had a pretty nice sized budget, and so much of it looked cheap and bad. Still, this one looked good. I really enjoyed just even the look and the aesthetic of it. And having that X-Men premise of people on the run, I think it works. It's a TV show type premise of trying to find other people in danger, being on the run from this organization, making progress. All that feels like a good setup for a TV show without needing the big spectacle of having the X-Men, just having a little mutant powers thrown in there for our action sequences. I dig all that. Then a thing that I thought was pretty cool about this one, this episode was actually directed by Bryan Singer, and I saw that next week's episode is going to be directed by Len Wiseman, so they're actually getting legit directors to kind of come in and kickstart things, especially with the guy that kickstarted the X-Men movies. And so it's very well crafted, well directed throughout, and you get just a number of different sequences where you get the sense of their powers and the fear, the paranoia, the government not knowing what to do, because you can see where like this kid suddenly has powers and is tearing up a school. That's not good. You can't let that just keep on happening. And at the same time, they're trying to arrest children. And so you get the fear, the paranoia, children not knowing how to talk to their parents, just a bunch of cool ideas. Bryan Singer captures all of it in the episode and gets the right emotion out of it while having some action in there, family moments. A lot of stuff happened in this episode. I kept watching it, looking at my clock, thinking that not because it was going slow, not because it was bad, but because so much stuff was happening in the episode. I thought that like it had been longer or was almost done, but it was just so nicely paced with like just packed with ideas and moving the story forward that it's really nicely handled. A very good pilot for a TV show to capture so much stuff in it. Also, the mother in this is Amy Acker. I've always enjoyed her. She was on Angel back in the day, then she was on Alias. She's always consistently had work and showed up in shows, and I've always liked to see it when she shows up in shows, so it was very nice to see her in this one. I think I'd heard that she was in this, and then when I was watching, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Amy Acker's in this. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. All the cast does a really nice job. Most of the people don't have to give amazing performances, but there's no one that stands out as awful in it or anything like that. Even for a first episode, sometimes people or shows take a little while to get their footing, and this one just seemed pretty on point from the get-go. If I were to go into some negatives, I don't really have any strong negatives here. There wasn't anything that stuck out to me as bad, but at the same time, just the basic, because it's a very X-Men type premise of high schooler discovers powers, find themselves on the run, discover mutants who protect them. That's a very X-Men-y type premise. So some people might feel familiar to them. It might feel like something we've seen before. I don't think we've seen it like this, though. I think it's a very different take on a basic premise. That first 15 minutes is the same. From there, everything's different. That was the only thing that really stuck out to me. And in general, it wasn't like, I'm saying all positive about it. It's not like my mind was blown. It's my favorite show. It wasn't anything like that. It's just something I thoroughly enjoyed that I definitely want to check out next week. And I think if you like the X-Men, or if you like the trailer for the show, actually assume, because I don't think I've seen the trailer for the show, but assuming the trailer for the show accurately represents it, it's an enjoyable good time that I think that you should definitely check out if this seems like your sort of thing. What about you? Tell me down below in the comment section, what did you think about it? What's your experience with the X-Men? All that kind of fun stuff. Let's get a lively discussion going on. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, like the one you're watching right now. I also do ranking videos, but the key thing is I don't want to just talk about movies and TV. I want to talk about movies and TV with you. So join me in the comment section. Let's get a lively discussion, and thank you so much for watching.